The January 6th committee has made four criminal referrals to the Justice Department regarding the role that Donald Trump played in the January 6th insurrection. Those charges are obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to make a false statement, and inciting, aiding, or assisting an insurrection. Here to talk more about this is Howie Klein from Down with Tyranny. Hello, Howie.
Hey, David.
So Hope Hicks, a senior advisor to Donald Trump, told the January 6th committee that Donald Trump refused to put out a statement warning against violence in the lead up to the January 6th insurrection. He said that all that matters is winning. We've talked about...
And that yes, and he said that his legacy would disintegrate if he was seen as a loser. His whole life, he's always been afraid of being seen as a loser because, of course, he was.
Right. So you have never written his political obituary with absolute certitude. This week, we're going to maybe see his taxes. Richie Neal, the outgoing chairman of House Ways and Means, may release his income tax statements. We've seen 4 criminal referrals to the Justice Department. His poll numbers, he's lagging behind DeSantis. Is he through?
Like you said, no one knows. 4 million, something like that. 74 million people voted for him, or 71 million, or something over 70 million people voted for him at a time when he had already been doing his thing for 4 years in the White House. So, never underestimate or never overestimate the intelligence of the voting public. So who knows? I mean, this could be the opposite. People could see this stuff. Republicans are already attacking it as some, political savagery against him. And some of these people are going to feel sympathetic to Trump and think that, look how they're treating him, and they'll dig their heels in. And so who knows? I hope it's the end of him, but I don't know if it's the end of him. And on another level, by the way, speaking about hope, not Hicks, but in our hearts, what are we hoping for? That this loser isn't the candidate, and instead it's DeSantis, who's going to be much, much more difficult to beat, especially for someone like Biden. So who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? I just Sam Bankman-Fried is not going to fight extradition.
We'll get to Sam Bankman-Fried in a second because you've been writing a lot about him over at Down with Tyranny. The committee also recommended that there be an ethics complaint against the putative speaker, Kevin McCarthy, that they believe that he should...
And speaking of sympathy, they might have, what they might have done, I mean, they had to do it, and it's good that they did it, but what they might have done is just given him the speakership, because they referred him to the House Ethics Committee, which of course is going to do nothing whatsoever, since that's what it does, nothing whatsoever. So that'll be dismissed in like 2 seconds. But they did it along with Jim Jordan and Scott Perry and Andy Biggs. So 3 total insurrectionists, as radical right as you can get, and they threw McCarthy in with them. And that's going to make it even more difficult for the people who are holding out against McCarthy. I call them the 5 Musketeers, to hold out against him. They might now be swayed to go along with making him speaker.
What was the political calculus there? To help him become speaker? Are they afraid? Are the Democrats?
No, absolutely not. There was no political calculus. They were just doing the right thing. That's all. There was no way that, look, these 4 people were given subpoenas, and they refused to, show up. And that the committee had no choice but to refer them to the House Ethics Committee. Otherwise, the subpoena system would be of no value anymore for any congressional committees. So they really didn't have any choice. There was no political calculus there.
And Richie Neal, who you can't stand, has the tax return.
I would interpret that strongly. I'm not a fan of his, but it's not can't stand. Definitely not.
What are the chances that we're going to see his tax returns?
I think it's very, very good. I don't know if we're going to get every page of his tax returns, but I think that we're going to get, some real damaging stuff. That's what I think. Do I know? I don't know. I have contacts all through the Capitol, but not in Richie Neal's office.
Okay. What if we look at the tax returns and, they're not that bad? I was always worried that this was a red herring. That there was
they'll be bad.
They will be bad?
Yeah. Trump is a compulsive cheat. He can't not cheat. That he has spent his entire life cheating, and there's no way he could, put in years and years of tax returns without cheating. It's just not a possibility.
In terms of the politics, his supporters don't care that he cheats on his taxes. They might lose faith in him if it's discovered that he's broke. Are we going to discover that he's broke?
I doubt it, because he's not.
He's not broke, but he's not as rich as he pretends
not
to.
Not as rich as they say, but he's brought in, how many millions and millions and millions of dollars from these suckers who keep right. Buying his hats and, sending him money. I mean, he's putting the money into vehicles that he can use, not to donate to other candidates, which he pretty much doesn't do, but that he'll be able to access that money, by sort of skirting the law. In other words, he can pay, what's that kid's name? That young kid that he ignores that Melania had? He's very, very tall.
Jared?
I don't think that one. No, there's some kid that Melania had, supposedly by Trump.
Oh, Barone.
And it's
Barone.
Yes, or Barron, right? Isn't it Barron? Is it Barone or Barron?
Well, we're not supposed to mention his name, so.
Why?
Just he's under the age of 18, so we don't mention. I call him Barone.
In any case, Trump can hire Barone or Barron or whoever he is to run the PAC and give him $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's legal. So anyway, so this money that he's collecting this money for himself. So yes, I don't see him as broke, not as rich as he says, not broke.
Right. You have a piece over Down with Tyranny, then we'll get to Sam Bankman-Fried.
Is this going to be the piece where I mention you?
Which one is that? I'm going through.
The one that I mentioned you, it's the one about there are 3 buttons and you can press just one of the buttons and you have to decide which button you're going to press. So one button, and it's a what do they call them? A end of the road button. So these are magic buttons. So one you press and it's the end of the road for Trump. Another you press and it's the end of the road for all of the members of Congress who have enabled him. And the other one, which I said not even you would press, is to it'd be the end of the road for all 71 or 74 million people who voted for Trump.
Maybe you get me on a bad day.
No, I mean it's something that we could fantasize over, but think about it. I mean that would put you like beyond anything that Hitler or Stalin or Genghis Khan ever did. I mean that would be beyond belief. And suppose that instead of so you would agree that you would never push that button, right?
Not today.
You would never push that. But what if they narrowed it down to the say 100,000 worst of that 71 million?
I get to pick a couple? And can I
No,
throw
you
in
get-
can I throw in
No,
a
no,
couple
no, no, no. You get-
can I throw in a couple
you
of
either
blue
get-
dog Democrats who voted for Biden?
No, you get to pick either just Trump, all the members of Congress who supported Trump, or this 100,000 of the worst of the MAGA supporters who voted for Trump.
I would go after the enabler. If I had to pick one button, it would be the enablers.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, I
So
would pick the
the
enablers.
members of. Okay, I think I would too.
I don't hate Trump. I hate the people who are afraid of him. The people who
Afraid of him?
the
How
Republicans.
about the ones who are using their own good? I mean, I don't think that Marjorie Trader Green is afraid of him. I think she thinks he's fabulous, and she thinks he's her ticket to ride.
I think they're afraid of him. I think they
And
have.
they're afraid of him. McCarthy is afraid of him.
I'm sorry.
But Boebert's not afraid of him. Boebert sees a kindred soul.
Okay.
He inspired people like Boebert and Taylor Greene and Madison Cawthorn. These people got into politics because of him. Afraid? No. McCarthy is afraid, yes, and not just McCarthy, but lots of them are afraid. I mean, as much as I hate, and this doesn't change the hate, as much as I hate McConnell, I also kind of admire him for poking Trump in the eye very frequently, including today.
What did what did McConnell do today?
Someone asked him as he was running down the hallway in the Senate, what he thought of the referral, and instead of using the Republican talking points, which is that just political, no one cares about it, he said, everyone in America knows who was at fault in that insurrection. He told it. He backed away. He went away from the talking points that everyone was given, and that you hear all the Republicans, spouting right now.
Right. So Kevin McCarthy, is he going to be speaker or not?
Yeah, he's going to be. Yeah. I think so. What I believe that they're trying to do is to wring every possible concession out of him, including the vacate the chair rule, which will mean will be controlled by the Nazis completely. He'll give in on everything in the end. I mean, that's the one thing that Ryan told him: do not give in on the vacate the rule, the vacate the chair rules. Do not do it. You'd be better off not being speaker than being speaker under that. And McCarthy has held firm on that so far, but in the end, it's only going to take the four or five of them to vote no, and he won't be speaker. So he'll give in. In the end, he will give in, and they'll let him be speaker. Kind of a puppet speaker.
And he'll wish he hadn't taken it. He'll look back and say,
Maybe or maybe not. Did you read that? I forgot where I read it today, but there was a big article about Bill Thomas, who was a very powerful Republican congressman for 3 decades from Bakersfield. And he was the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. He was a very, very important guy. And he was the one, I don't want to say he invented McCarthy, but McCarthy started as an intern at his office. And it was eventually, Thomas kind of picked him to succeed him when he retired. And Thomas, basically said the guy is lower than a worm, and you can't believe a word he says. And Thomas just went off on the guy.
right.
And Thomas is a very, very conservative Republican.
So Mastodon, are you on Mastodon? Is Twitter?
I am on that. I had a bad experience there. What I did is I went to I signed up to the wrong instance. That's what they call the things you sign up on. So there's no overall Mastodon that you sign up on. It's various instances. So I saw an instance that looked like it would be good for me. It wasn't like in Austria. I thought this will be a good one. So I signed up to that one, and as it turns out, some psychopath is like the moderator, and I think it's a woman. I'm not 100% sure, but she flipped out when I used the word kiss of death, I think what she thought is that I was trying to, I said that a Trump kiss of death. And I think what she thought I was doing was urging people to kill Trump because she didn't understand the term kiss of death. She didn't know what it meant. So she suspended me.
All of a sudden, on Elon Musk's side.
Yeah, no, she was worse than Elon Musk. So I appealed, and I don't know, a few days later, they granted me the appeal that I was right. But it turns out that on this instance that I'm on, if you write about politics, it has to be hidden. Yet they give you a button to press that hides what you write, so that if someone wants to read it, they have to unhide it. So, I'm thinking, why am I on this thing? This is stupider than Twitter, and I didn't like it in any way. So then I found this thing called Post, and I started going to Post, and I love it. Post I really like. It's elegant, it's simple, it just really, really works well for me. But everyone who I know tells me I'm an idiot and that Mastodon is better. But I like Post better, so I'm posting on Post. And as far as Mastodon, I'll say maybe once a day I'll put something up there. And I know every time I put something up, I'm taking a chance that this crazy woman is going to come and attack me and suspend me again.
Unbelievable. Are we wrong for wanting to leave Twitter? Should we stay and fight? I mean, how hard is it to stay and fight?
I'm staying and fighting, but I think Elon Musk is going to leave Twitter and put someone else in charge, like Jared Kushner or he'll find someone worse than him. I think he's going to find someone worse than him because he tweeted something. I don't know if it was this morning or last night that you better watch out or you'll get what you wanted or something like that, which I interpreted as meaning he will leave and make us wish that he was back. And the reason he's going to leave is because the bottom has fallen out of Tesla, and there's now an active motion by I think it's the second biggest shareholder to displace him as the CEO of Tesla. So he really has to sort of tend to that now, or he'll really be in trouble.
For my we have a lot of.
And
I'm sorry.
You know about that phony poll that he did, right?
Of course, it was phony.
Well, any Twitter poll is phony. What does a Twitter poll mean something? Right. I mean, I do Twitter polls all the time. They're absurd, and his Twitter polls are absurd also. So he did a Twitter poll. And he lost. More 55, 57% of the people who participated, or bots or whoever participated in the poll, said he should not be CEO, and he said he would abide by it. And then he said that thing this morning or last night about your wish, you don't want what you wish for, and then he disappeared. And this is the longest he's ever not tweeted.
So we have a lot of new listeners, and Howie Klein, before he ran the Blue America PAC, founded the Blue America PAC. He's the treasurer of the Blue America PAC. He writes down with Journey. In a previous life, Howie ran Warner Brothers and Reprise Records.
Not Warner Brothers, Reprise Records.
Reprise Records and 415.
5 records.
Yeah.
So Reprise is half of Warner Brothers. 415 was an independent label that I had in San Francisco, and I don't know if you heard about it or not, or you read about it, but one of our premier bands, Romeo Void, had a sax player named Benjamin Bossi who passed away a couple of days ago on Friday evening.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Is that what you were going to?
No, well,
yeah, it was really bad.
That's bad news. But I'm sorry to hear that. I was going to ask you about the corporate suites and how Elon Musk's behavior is aberrant, that at some point he's gotten bigger than the company, and the company, Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter, traditionally they get rid of you. They don't want somebody who is drawing attention away from the product. So is he going to go away? Not just from Twitter, but from Tesla and SpaceX.
Well, maybe, but I don't think so. although it's possible. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but you know, the board of Tesla is handpicked by him. So you know, I doubt that they're going to get rid of him. You know, Tesla existed before he came along, just like Twitter existed before he came along. So he comes along, and you know, it's not like he invented Tesla. People think that. People think he invented, you know, electric cars. They're wrong. And just the same way he didn't invent tweets. Mm-hmm. He's, you know, the one thing I'll tell you that's good news along the line of your questioning is that he is no longer the richest man in the world. Right. It's official as of yesterday. Some French guy is now the richest billionaire.
You posted the list.
Yes, I did.
Right. If we're supposed to trust Tesla and SpaceX with our lives, really, I mean, they're trying to push self-driving cars on us and land men on the moon. Would you put your life in the hands of Elon Musk? I don't see how he survives this, but I'm usually wrong.
I wouldn't do it. But you know, I went to a Cori Bush event
there's
Saturday.
A great picture of you. You look good. There's a great picture of you with her.
Me and Cori, yes. Yeah. So I went to this event, but it's far. It's too far for me to drive. You know, I'd go crazy. But a friend of mine who's much younger, he drove. So he drove the car. He drives right up to someone's bumper practically, and he doesn't stop. And he accelerates, even though they have the light on. He accelerates because a beeper comes on if he's too close, and he doesn't stop the car until the beeper comes on. You know, I can't go for that. You know, and then I said to him, you know, you're going the wrong way. You don't go through the valley to get to Santa Monica. He said, well, my app says to. I said, well, your app's wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you ignored me.
What was it, a Tesla?
No, it wasn't a Tesla. It was just one. I don't think it was just one of these, you know, modern. It's a modern car. The point that I'm making is that these young people, they're used to this technology, and that's how they do it. You know, I know how to get places. I know how, I can even, you know, once I realized that I can't remember anyone's phone number anymore because it's all automated. Then I started getting very suspicious about this because I used to remember every one of my friends' phone numbers. Now I can barely remember my own. Right. And in terms of getting places, I want to know how to get places. I don't want I have to depend on an app to get me places. I also want to know when to brake. I don't want to depend on some, you know, possibly malfunctioning technology to tell me when to brake and not brake till then or crash into somebody.
Sam
I was scared.
Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried. But first, I want to ask you how the fundraiser for the great Cori Bush went.
It went amazingly well. And, yeah, I mean, you know, they were doing fundraising. I'm proud to say that I was the first one to step up and offer money. And as soon as I did, other people matched me.
Right. This is for her. This is for security for her.
She not just Cori, but her children get death threats literally every day. You know, people saying the most horrible things to her, or to whoever picks up the phone. Just, you know, the most, you know, just absolutely disgusting things that they wouldn't say to a man, things that they wouldn't say to a white person. But they said because she's a black woman that frees them to say these unbelievable things, and you know, some of these threats are very credible. People calling up and saying, I know your daughter gets out of school at 3 p.m. at this such and such an address. I'll be waiting for her with my Uzi. You know, it's probably not true, but, you know, probably, is that good enough for a mother? No. Anyway, she needs a security. Congress doesn't pay for security for her, and that was what the fundraiser was for. The security, by the way, is $30,000 a month.
Incredible.
Yep. Absolutely incredible.
This is how you end up with fascism. Good people say it's just not worth it. It's just too scary. They stop serving on school boards because the MAGA thugs intimidate. Who needs the aggravation? it's
Want to
worth,
rethink your decision not to press the button on those 71 million?
well,
Just kidding. So what were you saying about Bankman-Fried?
Sam Bankman-Fried, he's sitting in a jail in the Bahamas, but
Again, yes.
he's not
Almost got
fighting.
out today.
I'm sorry?
He almost got out today. I mean, he was out of the jail for part of the time. He was in court. And he seems to have said, or at least his lawyer says that he has said now, that he will not fight extradition. And he wants to go home to the U.S. I can't imagine. I mean, they even have, his cell ready at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. No, really, I'm telling you the truth.
I thought it was Jeffrey Epstein's cell that you were talking about. Yeah.
Oh, that was in Manhattan. That was the first thing I checked. Believe me, I wanted to see which one.
Yeah.
No, but I can't imagine that he's going to live to testify because he can bring down the whole U.S. political system. He has given probably at least not just him, but him and let's say FTX, which he was the CEO of. So in other words, he was able to direct other executives to give money to other people. But it's around $100 million that they've spent, or maybe more, and it involves some of the biggest players in American politics. I mean, he was the second, Bankman-Fried himself was the second biggest donor to Joe Biden in 2020. Do you hear the press talking about that at all, for example?
No.
They don't, right?
Yeah, I read it over Down with Tyranny, and
I mean, they don't, the media, there was a Blockbuster story today. It was really, really good. I mean, I have nothing but praise for the people who wrote the story. It was a Blockbuster at the New York Times about George Santos. So George Santos is a congressman-elect from Long Island.
and he's a man of the people,
and
right? Good Republican. He's rich
a MAGA,
landlord,
Republican.
very wealthy, right?
No one knows for sure
I'm
because
joking.
everything he's ever lied.
I'm joking. He's a liar, right? He's an inveterate liar.
Also liar. Everything he said turns out to be untrue, which the New York Times did a great investigation. They went all the way back to, when he was living in Brazil. He's a Brazilian. And they found tons of stuff, and it's really good. But not anywhere in that story did they mention that he was financed by Sam Bankman-Fried. No mention. And every time they write about these politicians doing bad things, shouldn't they be mentioning the Bankman-Fried part of this? Doesn't that say something about them? That's a value? They don't. I mean, you read that thing about Maxwell Frost, for example, not being. He claims he was denied a rental unit in D.C. because of bad credit. And that was a big story. That he's a press hound, and he got a big story out of that everywhere. But maybe some lazy reporter should dig a little bit and see that Sam Bankman-Fried put $1 million into his campaign in return for him starting a cryptocurrency advisory board with one of Sam Bankman-Fried's top cronies in Congress, Richie Torres. But that kind of stuff takes a little bit of work, and these journalists, so-called journalists, don't do it. I mean, the Times story talking about Sam Bankman-Fried not fighting extradition today, they had 4 journalists on that. It could have the story that they wrote could have been written by someone in junior high school. They did nothing. God forbid someone mentioned the word bribery. No one ever talks about it. Why not connect the dots between the large sums of money he was giving to these people and what they gave to him? That's why I don't think he's going to ever be able to testify. I think they'll kill him, or they'll have him killed, or they'll say he's committed suicide. Because, look, Tom Emmer is a congressman, a Republican congressman from Minnesota. He was a member of the senior member of the House Financial Services Committee, and he's the chairman of this thing called the Blockchain 8. All four Republicans and all four Democrats that make up the Blockchain 8 wrote a letter to Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is the chairman of the SEC, and they said basically, who the hell do you think you are going after FTX and cryptocurrency? That's not part of your job. You shouldn't be doing this. And they were very threatening to him. And they have, they're the House Financial Services Committee. They can control the money that goes to his to the SEC. And so they're really threatening him in a nasty letter. And that came right after Bankman-Fried donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to these clowns. But you never read about it in the papers. They don't talk about it. They just, Sam Bankman-Fried has a mother who's just like him, a conservative, anti-progressive Democrat. She has a PAC called the Mind the Gap PAC. I think it's called. I think it's called Mind the Gap PAC. He and a couple of his cronies at FTX gave her $1 million. Gave the PAC $1 million. So, in other words, they can say, well, it wasn't a company that did it, but it came out to a clean million. So obviously, it was decided that they're going to give her $1 million. It wasn't random people giving her this or that. She got $1 million for her PAC. She wound up having the members of of that PAC give $500,000 towards conservative Democrat Sean Casten towards his campaign. Well, you think it's just a coincidence? Tell me that Sean Casten then hired her son, Sam Bankman-Fried's brother, Gabe Bankman-Fried, to come and work for him in Congress?
You write that he had
access. Coincidence?
You write over Down with Tyranny that he had access to meetings that nobody had access to.
That's right. No staffer ever goes to, not even a chief of staff, let alone him who had a job as a letter opener. That was his job, opening letters. And then suddenly he's in these highly confidential meetings and also running his mouth.
Did any of these is part of the problem the media and Congress don't understand?
Yes.
How any of this works?
They're afraid they'll lose access. That's why none of them will write about it.
They'll lose.
It just blows my mind.
So if they don't Epstein Sam Bankman-Fried, is there a possibility?
There's other ways to do it, by the way. I invented a new word today called Lee Harvey Oswald as a verb. They can also Oswald him. The other thing is some of this missing $32 billion, by the way, wasn't from grandma and grandpa. It was from drug cartels and North Korea, Iran, Russia, the Russian mafia, I should say. These people, are also looking for a chance to, get even with him.
When you watch interviews with him, it feels like he's on the spectrum. Maybe a soft.
Yes, you know that he is on the spectrum, right?
And that he doesn't. I don't get a sense that he kind of knew what he was. I don't know. What like in terms of being evil?
Well, he's on the spectrum, right?
He has to be on the spectrum.
Do you know that?
I don't know that.
What? No, he is. It's that's not some secret. I mean, that's the case. He is, and on top of that, he is a big time drug user.
Right.
So
they all were. The girlfriend. Yeah. They were all using methamphetamines, right?
Something like that. But he's also very, very smart. I mean, you can be all those things at the same time. So if you ask me if he knew what he was doing, my answer would be yes. I think he did know what he was doing.
Did he know that I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt? I don't know why. I don't know. I've never heard him do that before, but I'm interested. What little I saw of the interviews, it just feels like he's not all there, and that. No, I think that's an act. Oh, it is. It's an act. I think it's a combination of an act and ADD. Like, I know Bernie Madoff. I think he very much does know what he's doing.
and my gut tells me that he's thinking, I stashed away $4 or $5 billion. No one knows where it is except me. I'll go to jail for 20 years. I'll get out and I'll be really rich.
That's what he's thinking.
Well, maybe. I mean, that's my gut tells me that. Now, I don't know if that's really the case or not. But, the money just doesn't disappear into thin air.
Right. And he had helicopter.
Where's that money?
He had helicopter.
He didn't give it all to Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy.
He had helicopter parents. Were they in on it? Are they going to prison?
I think that they were in on it. I don't know about the father, so I don't really know much about the father. I know that the mother was in on it, Barbara Fried. And the brother was in on it. I mean, he was running the biggest of the Sam Bankman-Fried's political PAC was being run by Gabe Bankman-Fried, the brother. So, it was a family affair.
To be continued.
But like I said, I don't know anything about the father. I mean, the mother and father both taught law at Stanford. Stanford doesn't seem to mind when war criminals teach there. But now the Bankman and the Fried professor are no longer there.
Condi Rice was offended by them. Howie Klein is the founder and the treasurer of the Blue America PAC. They raise money for progressive candidates around America. Read him every day.
And we're raising money for Cori Bush right now, by the way.
And how do we send her money? How do we send her money?
If you go to Down with Tyranny, there's something on the top of the page that says About. And if you hit About, a drop-down menu comes and it says Donate. And then it offers you several places to donate. One of them is called Incumbents. So if you hit on Incumbents, you will get to a page where you can find Cori Bush, and you can donate there. You can donate $5. You cannot donate anything over $2,900. So anything between $1 and $2,900 would be very much welcome for Cori, who is arguably the best member of Congress, by the way.
No argument for me. I love her.
Yeah, I do too.
A year from now, we will have watched countless debates, the South Carolina primary, and it's unbelievable. Just a year from now, the Iowa caucuses will be around the corner. And they'll be important because the Republicans, I think they're still going first with the Republicans. Very quickly, will we be talking about his reelection? Will Donald Trump still be in the race a year from now?
Good question, and of course I don't know the answer. But
your prediction?
Certainly Biden has said that he's going to run for president if Trump does. So let's start with Trump. Will Trump still be in the race? Trump, desperately doesn't want to be seen as a loser. So it's conceivable that if he's really, going down and down and down and down, and DeSantis is going up and up and up, Trump may try to get out of it by anointing some other maggot.
Right.
So I don't think Trump is going to put himself in a position to lose the primary. He's going to want to hang on as long as he possibly can because that's what's bringing in the money. There's nothing else bringing in money the way his political operation is bringing in money. He has multiple PACs and schemes. I mean, this last one was insane with those stolen artwork that he sold.
Right.
As
yes.
NFTs.
Yeah, from like a Walmart ad or something. Do you at all feel sorry for him?
No, I would press that button 1 second flat if I. That was the only button. But I would do the same thing as you. I'd go for the congressional enablers.
Yeah.
I have no with them either.
Great job. Thank you, Howie Klein.
We said goodbye already.
We said goodbye. Thank you, Howie.
Take care, David.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yes, great.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. That's Howie, and Happy Hanukkah. That's Howie Klein. Read him over at Down with Tyranny and donate to Cori Bush. Cori Bush is a great congresswoman from St. Louis, Missouri. She was the one who had to remind Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden that the eviction moratorium was expiring, and she took to the steps of the Capitol to sleep on the Capitol to remind Biden and Pelosi that people are about to be evicted, and they are being evicted right now because the Supreme Court ruled that the eviction moratorium was unconstitutional. I am David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak.